condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
The POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And
Conversations on our Atlantic Television Network, soon here with our guest Johnny, with the support and trust of its wonderful people.
That a lady like a branch service of people and wants to serve the state at that level is commendable. Prospects is difficult thing. It depends on several factors too. The willingness of the Independent Electoral Commission to play by the rules it has made, which has become the major factor since in this 2023 election cycle. INEC, I mean, when Obama won the election, Obama said he was the most unlikely person to be the president of the, even as we talk of being president of America. But he became, because there is the society where those conducting election play by the rule they made, those who are contesting election play by the ability of the people to realize that election does not end on election morning. That the person you choose will affect your life not only for 4 years, sometimes for the whole of your lifetime. Because one fundamental error can affect you, you never recover till some people even die because of that error. So if they realize that, they will listen. One challenge I may say is that many people in the Labour Party have come into the party with the old ideas of politics. They haven't understood that it's a party that is thinking of integrity in public space, commitment, sacrifice, and willingness to do things in a different way. So if the Labour Party people can understand that in Edo State, then there's a prospect. Because like Urani said, PDP seems to be having crisis. Today the governor is against deputy, deputies against the governor. The next day they say that together APC is throwing their own big brass there. That's a good time to get into politics and by somebody who you think is a neophyte. And go in and win.
Okay. Now, she talked about technology, health, education, and creating an enabling environment for ease of doing business, basically. Now, but with the consultant gynecologist, good one, quite experienced there, and like you said, there's a human part of them being a medical doctor and all of that. But put aside,
it means that the platform is becoming very attractive, and I wish that can be sustained. Could organize that could favor her. There may also be a sentiment that, well, let's try this kind of professional, you know, a female professional. She's addressing the issues that touch us there. But Akpata also will come. Akpata also comes from politics and law and all that. He himself has made his own name. So if he also manages it well, it means that whoever emerges among them is good for Edo State. But can I stay and talk about their chances? No. Because one, I'm not based in Edo State, and I'm not. There's always a danger of assessing these people, politicians, their chances from far away. They're on the attractive, very, very attractive outside, but not at home.
One of the things you mentioned was that with the inter-party dates and all of that, looking at the Labour Party at the national level, there seems to just be a Peter Obi who is speaking. I mean, we're talking about 2023 appropriation bill, for instance. It seems to be the only one that has something to studying the budget and actually having a say. Now, if you look at that and what the Labour Party is when it comes to Papa.
After the election, whoever wins will go and hold press conference that he won on square, fair and square. So that has been the situation. So when P2B came, it seemed that my people say if you give a little child big meat, portion of meat, you say who owns it? It seemed that the party leaders, officials in Labour Party were like that. They are confused. In River State here, I remember the day I and my friend went to meet the state party chairman, the people there. It was, I just saw that this is somebody who are not very confident, but we are not going to torpedo him. We just went there to join the party. We are advising him, be careful with IPAC and the things they will do. He said, no, I'm busy, this one. We got into the party. The week to the election, the party chairman, this vice chairman, national vice chairman, we are the ones on radio saying, don't mind our candidate, she's not serious.
Party, two strong, supposedly quality candidate has so far indicated
But little by, that's why it's a political party. It's not no independent candidate, no, you don't want to sell it to money bags. Everybody contributes to organize itself and do things right. It is not being done. And so that also will affect the prospect of anybody who emerges. Because
the political parties. Now one begins to wonder the call or the statement or projections being made in respect to lack of ideology as a reason why there are these default lines that seem to be in almost all the parties, whether APC, NNPP, Labour Party, or the conversation that was pushed by one of the presidential candidates in 2023 elections saying, hey, we need to have a conversation. I think it's the SDP Adebayo or something. I said, we need to have a conversation. These movements, like what do they call it now? Defection from party to party. That we need to do something. The National Assembly need to do something about that because it is robbing democracy a great.
In the 1979 era, I was briefly in a young who had this socialist background. So you have this system of training people on the ideas of the party, the ways of the party. So that's why till today, those who even follow that one was for today it's difficult for anybody in PDP Rivers State to think secondus. You understand? Or think Mashahare, or think Felix Obua. These are party chairmen because they had no idea. Down to this latest person, Ambassador Akawo. That is it. National level, the same thing. He can't. There's no imprint. There's no impartation of anything. All you in River State, with Wike, APC, nobody knows because there's no party character. So that's what we should begin to think of in this country. When we have party character, if you tell a person who has never, I have never been in PDP, and from what I see in PDP and from the character, or my own personal character perspective, I think it's going to be difficult for me to be in PDP. It doesn't matter what attraction. As a matter I want to do, and they said, if this man comes here with torpedo our boat, good. But we are having people without character go into politics and then they get into party without character. So we must begin to rethink this because, as the Bible says, if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous person do? The foundation of party politics is the party, and it has to be built. We have not built at all. We have not. It just cut a nail, they put it there. Even when they set up party, how many party members have copies of their constitution? How many party members have dared to read their constitution? All you hear in Nigerian political parties is Oga said, leader has spoken, leave that thing, leader has spoken. I mean, even in the recent Labour Party, no, that's not how we do it here. How do you do it here? You can't explain. Somebody does something, say, that's not how we do it here. So we have continued this. It's actually
ideologies that you have raised. Yes. Matter, and of course, Madam Boho as well, throwing her hat into the ring as a candidate. And see, from all you have said, look at the Nigerian political scene, INEC and its shenanigans, and how rugged our elections usually are. Oh. We have seen Peter Obi's struggles all the way to the Supreme Court, and it has come to naught. What are the chances that these...
It was to teach, I've always have got, they should begin to teach leadership, including politics. And all that. So you teach people what is involved in leadership. You teach people the sacrifices are needed, the kind of character, everything. They will teach you. Harvard has a Kennedy School of Government. You think it's for nothing. And you hear people say, Obi will tell you, I went to Harvard to train for 2 weeks. He can say the result in him. So we must begin to have that. Our university should have. I once suggested a vice chancellor, why don't you use this politician who are looking for name? Use their name, one of their names. Create, for instance, if you say university, okay, just a Whitgate school or politics, don't worry. He'll be interested. In any case, I would rather want, let the news of Wike come and tell youths what is involved in politics. We may like what he's saying or not. When he goes, a major role to play, but you see, another thing I say, thank you for this opportunity, is that we also in the churches, members and leaders, made a fatal mistake. We put everything on the pastor. The pastor can only do the work of a pastor. There are several ministries that God gave people in the church, in the Bible. We need to do.
Thank you very much.
It takes a long time.
That would be very kind of you.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. We're still on Open Conversations on Atlantic.
Cheers to a
from where we are.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place.
All right, welcome back to he might be joking. He might not be serious. All I'm asking Charles Saludo to do is let us have peace in APGA. If he wants to join APC, that's not a problem, but he should allow those who believe in APGA to settle down. I'm calling on Charles Saludo, let's end it now. I find it interesting when he said, maybe he assumed I'm going to be a rubber stamp. I'm not going to be that. What's the way you have billionaires being in party and all in the politics and all of that. But the call for Charles Saludo to either work the APGA that gave him a platform or step aside by the chairman as recognized by the court. That is one.
There's lack of party discipline in that party. It has been so. Even when Peter Obi was there, Obi tried a round election based with the party, won election, but he didn't seem to also build the party. This party discipline wasn't there. And of course, because it's not been there, if you even started today, some people will rebel. But if people are properly educated, they will follow you. What I'm seeing in Anambra State, and the party members have been complaining that, just like what this job was saying, against Soludo, he doesn't seem to appreciate the value of having the party structure properly kept. And people don't know the value of growing from a small place till it gets national. But they should learn from Tinubu. I thought that when you have an opportunity like strategical, that's why I dropped my hand for Tinubu. From AD, others went off. It's a failure on the part of the governor. Because
I think Dozen Joko could have said this based on the arrogance of political, financial power. They talked about being billionaires.
yeah,
And you can't
well, that is even one
them.
good thing for Anambra State, and that is one like River State suffers a lot. I comment don't need government money to live. There are likely going to be not less than 20 Anambra people who if they ask them to bring 10 million and state government bring 10 million, they will bring before government. But in my state where I come from, River State, we have a rich government, very poor people. So everybody worships at the altar of the governor. And that's the challenge. And I think Anambra is lucky in that direction. And it's really in the hand of the people.
But if there is wisdom and a better understanding, shouldn't then begin to cultivate that and project that, like you talked about, having a regional front to say
Yes.
this is what we represent.
Yes. That's what they should have done. And that, saw her for the Igbos, maybe because of articulation of leadership principle. The Igbos articulated much on economic.
The putting together of this committee is novel in the operations of our great party, because this is the first time a committee of this nature is being instituted this time around. We are desirous of knowing what transpired in each of the 23. He said members of the committee are to Asman Obo, Secretary, Honorable Funsho Olomoko, Barrister James Fabola, Senator Atai Aidoko, Honorable Yakubu Okala, Honorable Idris Ozi Shai, Honorable Abdul Salami Ibrahim Ahovi, Barrister Ladi Jato, Alhaji Hadi Sam Ameto, and Honorable Bubakar Bashiru Gegu. Now, here is one thing that seems to be a bit off with all of this. You're talking. First of all, I think it's a good initiative
It is. Like
to begin to dissect what happens in the party and all of that. Like have a review. That's a very professional way to manage things. But what I find interesting is that the people you're keeping at the lead are the same people who ran the process of the election. So how do you get those who are the grassroots, who knew that money was expended but didn't get to the grassroots, or who knew that you didn't do well in certain areas? How transparent do you think this is going to be in the end?
Yeah, I think we're just thinking that, the only problem I find is in the terms of reference. They didn't ask why. Yeah, certainly be reviewed this. They didn't ask the why question. Why did Ajaka leave APC and pick up SDP, and nearly torpedoed this? They didn't ask why. And that is why a lot of our problems are not solved. They are not happy. But you see, nobody will do it. Or if you are doing it, you forget the why. And say, find out all those who didn't come to vote. Why should I come to vote?
So how realistic is this?
No, that is why a good project there now is dead on arrival. Because it will solve the problem. Everybody, the people who are shouting, why didn't we know the problem why we couldn't perform? He won't talk about that. Just go and he said another thing. He said our problem is the agenda is reward, compensation, appointment. You won't articulate how we can avoid this situation from happening again. If Ododo, who has been elected now to be if he goes in, is Ododo going to do the same thing, or Ododo is going to think of an all-inclusive way of running the party? If he does the same thing, he will have some problem. So we must change our approach.
Well, to be fair to the party chairman, he says they want to look at what happened before.
Yes.
During. So maybe the before incidents will be the ones that caused party members to go to other platforms.
Yes.
So let's give them a few weeks.
Well, I wish so. You see, what happened is different from why it happened. And it's the why question I'm saying you should ask.
Well, the what will tell us the why. because when you compare with the PDP at the national,
yes,
where the acting chairman has
yes,
said, you people want me to investigate.
I want to investigate that.
My mandate is to keep it together. No, is the APC,
yes,
in
Kogi State
not a few steps in the right direction?
No, they are.
As compared to, because I mean today's show has been basically about
party. Yes.
You are looking at Abga
yes,
saying, go away, we don't even want to settle amicably.
Third, not having the party.
At the Supreme Court, 500 private legal practitioners volunteered to defend the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate in Kano State, Nasser Gawuma, at the Supreme Court. The lawyers under the aegis of the Guardians of Democracy and Rule of Law at a press conference on Tuesday by the group's spokesperson, Barrister Joseph Onwudiwe, said, Nigerians have observed keenly the situation unfolding in Kano State regarding the March 18th governorship election. As a group saddled with the onerous responsibility of safeguarding our democratic ethics and values, we are no longer comfortable with the unwanted attacks on the judiciary and moves to blackmail the court into giving backing to wanton electoral maleficence and vote heist. We will no longer fold our arms as lawyers and watch the judiciary be continuously harangued and the temple of justice desecrated by a group of people who failed to perfect electoral heist and inflate their votes. It is on the above premise that we wish rather to salute the courage and sound reasoning that resonated in the judgments of the tribunal and the Court of Appeal, which dispensed justice by allowing the overwhelming yearnings and aspirations of the majority of Kano citizens, as expressed in the valid number of votes cast in the March 18th Kano governorship elections, to stand against the selfish interests of a few who plan to subvert the democratic exercise through electoral fraud and vote manufacture. May we repeat here that the judgment of the Court of Appeal on this case was a very straightforward one, which rightly dismissed the appeal of Abba K. Yusuf and upheld his sack by the tribunal. The courts envisaged clerical errors in judgment and therefore embedded in their handbook and rules enactments that empower the court to vary its judgment to reflect its original intentions. The lawyers therefore called on Nigerians to rise in defense of democracy.
Is what is for the lawyers who will do the matter. If they are sure that the judgment of the High Court...
Yusuf said he is not a registered member of the party, as Election Tribunal and Court of Appeal ruled. Now, referring to letters addressed to the Inspector General of Police and Director General of the Directorate of the State Security Services, the NNPP at a press conference addressed by its national chairman, Dr. Agbo Major, expressed concern over these escalating issues in Kano State. They lamented that the unrest characterized by depressing interviews of protest, incitement, attacks on the judiciary, malicious remarks, institutional disruptions, visits to embassies, and road blockades have reached an alarming level. He said that upon thorough investigation, the party discovered that the riots were coordinated by Rabiu Musa. How do you mention, you say you're a member of NNPP, means you committed a crime against the Nigerian people because you knew this man wasn't registered and you actually kept him up, and now he's now the capacity candidate. Yeah. Can we begin to talk about how the law can begin to manage
I think because we don't punish people for certain things that demand punishments. Nobody will do that kind of thing. I think that's what we need. We need attorneys general who can understand that we may heal the society through enforcing the law. So that will go a long way for us.
All right, and straight away, the public square, trying to carry the attention of those who care to listen to his falsehood and warped opinions about waste. He was mercilessly defeated by President Tinubu. He and his army of social media cohorts have continued brazenly to unleash a campaign of calumny against the president and now his administration. But despite Obi's divisive rhetoric, Nigerians have since put a final seal on religious and ethnic politics so that the country can move forward against the wish of certain persons in the role of Obi, who have continued to fan the embers of division and falsehood just to create tension and spurn vexatious narrative in the national budget. And you also